Good morning. We will come to order for today's Code Enforcement Special Magistrate hearing. At this time, please rise and we will pledge allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Today is July 1st already, 2026. And at this time, Madam Secretary, we will call for the approval of the minutes. I have reviewed the minutes, and as Special Magistrate, I will approve the minutes from our meeting of June 3rd, 2026. Madam Secretary, your turn to swear in all our staff members today.
Please state your names.
Michael Jarahan.
Oscar Moreira.
Paula Guy. Melissa Brubaker.
Josh Navarro.
James O'Connor.
Brian House.
Merlane Moise. Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Item 5 on the agenda calls for public comments. If you have anything you'd like to bring before us this morning at the hearing that does not have to do with any agenda item, this is your opportunity under the First Amendment to speak. We see no one, so we'll move on. We'll go to the consent agenda, which is item number 6. I'll read the items in the consent agenda. There's a stipulation agreement for William Bigger Trust Estate. The address on this is 1910 35th Street, Fort Pierce, Florida, case number 2605-117323. The agenda says 25th Street, but that's just a typo. It's 35th Street. The second stipulation agreement between Stephanie and Christopher McCombs, case number 2604-117011, is not needed because this case has been abated. Stipulation agreement before me for Tom Wilson, 1402 North 37th Street in Fort Pierce, case number 2604-117155. Also on the consent agenda, rescind findings of fact for conclusion of law and order, Edmund A. Taylor, 2509-115-799. And there's also a rescinding finding of facts, conclusion of law and order for Precision Rentals and Investments, 2603-116-774. There was, on both those cases, there was, as I recall, an incorrect cite of the code. And then we have 3 requests for a fine reduction hearing. 402 Avenue L for case number CMD 73171. Also CMD 104839. In the third case, these are all the same location. Case number 2308-111558. In reference to the cases that I just read into the record, I, as Special Magistrate, accept and adopt the consent agenda as submitted by staff. We will now deal with fine hearings. This is item 7 on the agenda. Just for those of you who have not appeared here before, if your case is called for a fine hearing, that means you've already been found in violation. So we're not here to litigate whether you did it or not. You did. whether by default or by facts presented by evidence. However, at this point, we're going to determine whether a fine should be imposed. And what I'd like to hear is, first of all, the gravity of the situation. How bad is the violation? Any actions that may have been taken by you, the violator, to correct the violation since you've been found in violation, and whether you've had any other previous violations. Those are the factors that I'll be considering, and only those, when we talk about whether or not we're going to impose a fine and the amount of the fine, if there is a fine imposed. All right. So we'll start with case number 2512116-374. This case I continued last month. We'll hear it today. The location of the violation is 5607 Casilla Drive in Fort Pierce. The property owner, Calazuberto Gonclaves de Oliviers, out of West Palm Beach. The investigating officer is Melande Moyes. Is anybody here for this case? Nobody's here, but we're going to hear from the investigating officer because we want to see if anything's been done and how bad is the violation. Ms. Moyes, you're up.
Yes, for the record, I am resubmitting 8 photos dated December 17th, 2025, 2 photos dated February 18th, 2026, 2 photos dated March 30th, 2026, 1 photo dated June 1st, 2026, and I am submitting 1 photo dated June 29th, 2026. This case was brought before the April 1st, 2026 Special Magistrate Meeting for Section 11.05.01 Building and Sign Permits to please obtain a permit for the AC unit. Section 11.05.01 Building and Sign Permits to please obtain a permit for the interior and exterior renovations. Section 11.05.06 Notice of vegetation removal to please obtain a vegetation removal permit for the vegetation removed. A notice of violation was issued on December 17, 2025, with a correction date of December 31st, 2025. After getting no compliance, notice to appear, letters were issued certified mail and posted on the property on February 18th, 2026 for the April 1st, 2026 Special Magistrate Meeting. At the April 1st, 2026 Special Magistrate Meeting, the owner was not present. The case was given a default compliance date of May 8th, 2026. Due to non-compliance, this case was brought before the June 3rd, 2026 Special Magistrate Meeting. The owner's contractor was present. Special Magistrate made a decision to continue the case to the July 1st, 2026 Special Magistrate Meeting. Permit number BL-DR-2601-010529 was filed on January 13th, 2026, and permit number VRP-260-005450 was filed on January 27th, 2026. The permits have not been issued. I have had contact with the owner and the owner's niece, Allie. As of June 30th, 2026, the property does remain in violation.
Ms. Moyes, as I recall, the contractor was here and they were going to take care of this, but they have not.
They have not. They were awaiting for some documents from the health department, which those documents were provided to them and submitted to our permitting department. However, there was an issue with their contractor that's listed, so they need to get some documents for that contractor updated so that they can move forward.
Thank you. And you're recommending a maximum fine of $20,000. Why is that?
It's due to a certain percentage. Is it 10% of the property value?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, just, you know, you're not bound by any specific number, but that's fine, you know, whatever you think is appropriate. $250 a day in the begin. You want it to begin May 9th? I know the compliance date was May 8th.
That is the date that we are requesting, but it's
Yeah,
up to you
yeah,
with the beginning date.
because it sounds to me maybe there's just a little paperwork problem. I mean, with the name of the contractor. Can you elaborate on that? I know, I hate to put you, I mean, something wrong with it. They change contractors or?
No, it's the same contractor. However, due to the contractor's insurance expired, so they're waiting on that documentation so that they can update it so that that contractor can proceed.
Did that contractor tell you when they might be able to do that?
I haven't spoken with their contractor.
Okay. In reference to case number 2512-116374, I, as special magistrate, make the following determination. After hearing the facts in this case, the testimony, and the report of staff that the violation still exists, and having considered the gravity of the violation, the actions, if any, taken by the violator to correct the violations, and any previous violations, I make the following determination. A fine of $250 per day shall be imposed for each day the violation exists, starting May 9th, 2026, with a maximum fine not to exceed $20,000. Case number 2504-114865. This case was continued on May 6, 2026. The location of the violation was 4100 Metzger Road in Fort Pierce. The property owner is Michael E. Filorama Trust and Elisa C. Filorama Trust from Boynton Beach. Anybody here?
The owner sent us an email that he is running behind. His car broke down on the way here. So if we can come back to this case, is that?
Mr. Filorama?
I am not, I'm his representative.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
please approach, state your name and your address, and be sworn in.
Craig Jerome, I'm at 5103 Birch Drive.
Please raise your right hand. Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Brooks Drive is where?
Birch Drive, Fort
Oh,
Pierce.
Birch Drive in Fort Pierce. Okay, very good. All right. Mr. Jerome, we're going to hear from the investigating officer, Orlando Moyes, and then you'll have an opportunity to tell me what's going on.
For the record, I am resubmitting 2 photos taken on April 15, 2025 by Officer Best, 1 photo taken on August 21st, 2025 by Officer Best, 1 photo dated October 16, 2025, 2 photos dated November 3rd, 2025, 2 photos dated February 12, 2026, 1 photo dated March 3rd, 2026, 1 photo dated May 4th, 2026. I am submitting 1 photo dated June 29, 2026. This case was brought before the March 4, 2026 Special Magistrate Meeting for Section 11.05.00 Procedure for Obtaining Development Permits to obtain a zoning compliance for the business on the property. Section 11.05.01 Building and Sign Permits to please obtain a permit for the fence. A notice of violation was issued by Officer Best on April 15, 2025, with a compliance date of April 29, 2025. On January 6, 2026, I issued a notice to appear for the March 4, 2026 special magistrate meeting. In addition, a notice to appear was issued and posted on the property on February 12, 2026 for the March 4, 2026 special magistrate meeting. At the March 4, 2026 special magistrate meeting, the owner was not present. The case was found in default and given a default compliance date of April 3, 2026. Due to noncompliance, this case was brought before the May 6, 2026 special magistrate meeting for fine hearing. The owner was not present. The special magistrate made a decision to continue the case to the July 1st, 2026 special magistrate meeting. After the May 6, 2026 special magistrate meeting, the owner was contacted and provided an update regarding his case and was informed of the meeting due to the continuation and date given that the meeting was continued. Okay. Zoning compliance, ZC-2510-000571 was filed on October 29, 2025 and is still in review status. Fence permit FENC-2407-001228 was filed on July 3rd, 2024 and is still in review. I have had contact with the owner. As of June 30th, 2026, the property remains in violation.
Thank you, Ms. Moyes.
You're welcome.
Mr. Jerome, in what capacity are you speaking for the property owner?
I'm just here as his representative. Unfortunately, his truck broke down on the way here. He's stuck on I-95 at Gatlin.
So, did he indicate to you whether he can get here before, let's say, noon?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure the condition of the truck. He said it overheated. He apologized.
And how long have you known Mr.
Almost 2
Furlong?
years now. We rented space in that building from him for WPSL radio.
Okay.
We just moved out 2 weeks ago.
So he's asking for a continuance? I know just tell me what, and I see our business navigator here. Everything's been in review since October of 25.
Yes, that's
So
a
that's like,
bit.
like 10 months or something? What's going on?
It's a bit deceptive because behind the scenes, Elisa Filoramo, and I hope that I have not mangled her name, has been working with us to address some of these requirements. The biggest challenge, as you can see, their business is dependent upon motor vehicles being parked on at least a temporary basis until they are picked up by the agencies. So there's a lot of paving, and so we've been meeting with them. Our most recent meeting with them was June 16th of 2026 to discuss, yes, about 2 weeks ago, 2.5
Okay.
weeks ago, to discuss how we could get a zoning compliance while they were working through the paving requirements. I did receive an update from her this morning. They have a contract with Precision Paving to complete that paving for the parking of the motor vehicles. She has also been working with the fire district and says she's gotten a fire inspection. However, I do anticipate there'll be another fire review because they need a change of occupancy before they can get building approval. And they've been working on their landscaping as well. We anticipate issuing a zoning compliance with a condition of approval that the landscaping and paving being completed, but they do have to complete the building requirements before they can move in with this business.
Yeah.
And she has not asked me for a continuance, but I can tell you that they are continuing to work
Yeah,
on the
they're-
process.
All right, they're cooperating to get this taken care of. It doesn't pose any threat to anybody, I don't see, the violations here.
Not my area of expertise, but it seems to be okay.
Yeah, for the fencing, it seems to be minor. They just need to get the engineered detail for the fencing and a signed and sealed survey per zoning comments.
And you're talking about Ms. Filaramo you've been dealing with?
Correct. Her name is Elisa.
Elisa, and has she appeared here before?
I don't believe so.
Yeah, I'd like to speak with her. Let's continue this. We'll continue it to our August 5th hearing at 9 o'clock, August 5th, 2026. So you can tell her that we understand the breakdown. It's happened to us all. And we'd like to see her here August 5th so she can tell us what she's been doing to get this property into compliance.
Yes, sir.
All right? Thank
Thank you.
Case number 2504-114789. Location of the violation is 7605 Banyan Street in Fort Pierce. The property owner is Cynthia Allen of the same address. Is Ms. Allen here? All right. We'll hear from the investigating officer, Mr. Morera. Good morning.
Good morning, Magistrate. For the record, I am resubmitting one photo dated June 11, 2025, on an aerial photo obtained from the property appraiser website. 3 photos dated August the 4th, 2025. 3 images from the property appraiser tax roll property card. And I am submitting 2 photos dated June the 18th, 2026, and 1 photo dated June 26, 2026. This case was brought to the August 6, 2025 court board hearing for Section 11.05.01 building and sign permits. Please obtain a permit for the enclosure of the front porch and any other work related to the alteration. At the August 6, 2026 court board hearing, the board found the property in violation, and they made the decision to schedule the case to the July 1st, 2026 court board hearing with a compliance date of June 3rd, 2026. I have remained in contact with the owner, and as of June 29, 2026, the property remains in violation.
You said you've been in contact with them?
Yeah, during the violation hearing, she made it clear that she did not have the funds to bring the property into compliance.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And the recommendation of a maximum fine of $15,000 is based on property value?
That is correct, Your Magistrate.
You're recommending $250 a day beginning June 4th, 2025. In reference to case number 2504-114789, I, as special magistrate, make the following determination. After hearing the facts in this case, the testimony, and the report of staff that the violation still exists, and having considered the gravity of the violation, the actions, if any, taken by the violator to correct the violation, and any previous violations, I make the following determination. A fine of $250 per day shall be imposed for each day the violation exists, starting June 4th, 2025. That's correct, right? June 4th, 2025?
Yes.
Starting that day with a maximum fine not to exceed $15,000.
It's 2026, I'm sorry.
Yeah, the agenda says 2025. All right, so let's just amend that. Yeah, I thought, that's why I caught that. June 4th, 2026, with a maximum fine not to exceed $15,000. Case number 2602116-647. Location of the violation, 229 East Arbor Avenue, Port St. Lucie. The property owner is Barry Flip, LLC. The investigating officer is Josh Guevara. There is a gentleman here. Are you representing? And I believe there is a translator here.
Good morning,
Okay.
Magistrate.
Good morning. Please both be sworn into the record. Give your names for the record and be sworn in.
I'm gonna swear in the translator first,
That'll be fine.
please. Do you solemnly swear that you will make a true interpretation of all questions or statements made to the witness in a language that person understands, that you will interpret the witness's answers in English language to the best of your skill and judgment?
Yes, I do.
And your name, the translator's name and address?
Dory, D-O-R-Y, Aguero, A-G-U-E-R-O, Mahoney, M-A-H-O-N-E-Y.
All right, very good. And then the gentleman, please state your name and your address and be sworn in.
Para ser juramentado.
Rainer Lobón.
Speak into the microphone.
Rainer Lobón.
Rainer Lebon,
2397 Southeast Annecy Street.
Anesia.
Annecy.
2397 Southeast Annecy Street.
Please raise your right hand. Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
¿Usted afirma que va a decir la verdad, solo la verdad y nada más que la verdad?
Sí.
Yes.
Thank you. We will hear from the investigating officer at this time, and then we'll hear from you.
Vamos a escuchar del oficial investigador este momento y después vamos a escucharle a usted.
Mr. Guevara.
Good morning, Mr. Special Magistrate. For the record, I'm submitting 5 photos dated February 17, 2026, and 3 photos dated June 29, 2026. 229 East Arbor Avenue was found in violation of Section 110501, unpermitted fence.
Mr. Guevara, just because we are dealing with a translator, kind of stop between each sentence if you
Gotcha.
can, so she can,
Thank you,
translate.
I'll start again.
Okay.
For the record, I am submitting 5 photos dated February 17, 2026,
Documentos de la
and 3 photos dated June 29, 2026.
del 29 de junio del 2026.
229 East Arbor Avenue was found in violation of Section 110501 for an unpermitted fence.
Por la cerca.
A notice of violation letter was issued on February 17, 2026,
Fue de febrero 17
and a notice to appear letter was issued on April 2, 2026,
para comparecer.
for the Code Board hearing of May 6, 2026.
En mayo 6 hubo una audiencia.
At the May 6, 2026 Code Enforcement hearing, the property was found in violation
La propiedad está
and given a compliance date of June 15, 2026 to comply, or a fine would be imposed.
que cumpliera.
Fence permit FENC 2606 002380 was applied for on June 12, 2026, and it's still in review awaiting applicant resubmittal. I've been in contact with property rep over email, and they're here today to request more time.
A través de correo electrónico.
Thank you, Mr. Guevara. Sir, please tell me why you need more time.
Dígame por favor por qué necesita más tiempo.
Porque ya sometimos el permiso y entonces el departamento de zoning me mandó a hacer una rectificación en el survey.
Because we already submitted the permit, but the zoning department
Una verificación de los límites de la cerca en el survey.
asked me to verify the fence limits in the survey.
Let me hear for an explanation from Mr. Jernigan from the county.
For the record, building official Michael Jerahan, they submitted the permit on June 12, 2026. It looks like zoning is asking for a revocable license agreement and also to identify some gates that were shown in the picture but are not shown on the survey that was submitted.
Que estaba en la foto, pero no estaba en el survey que sometieron.
Sí, fue un error a la hora de someter el permiso. Yo hablé con el departamento de Sony
Yes, there was a mistake when I submitted the survey. And I talked to the zoning department,
y le voy a marcar dónde va los portones en el survey y volvérselo a someter.
and I'm going to mark in the survey where are the garage doors.
No, los portones de la puerta de la cerca,
The gates.
The
de aquí, de la puerta, los portones estos, que va donde
the
va
doors,
ya.
these doors, the doors of the fence.
You're gonna mark,
Te lo
Yeah,
voy a
so
marcar.
on the survey, there was no markings identifying where the gates were, which is a requirement when they turn that survey in to show where the fencing's gonna go and then where the actual gates are gonna be. And then they need the revocable license agreement.
how long will that take to get,
Con-
from what the county is requesting?
¿Cuánto tiempo le va a tomar lo que está?
Paula Guy, Code Enforcement Supervisor. Typically, when someone has to apply for that,
Cuando alguien
I
tiene
give
que
them
hacer eso,
a 3-month
3 meses
continuance,
de continuidad.
but I check that they're following through all the processes every 30 days.
Yo chequeo que ellos estén cada 30 días.
So you're recommending that there'd be no problem with a 3-month continuance, and you will monitor the progress?
The officer will, correct.
The officer will
Yes.
monitor the progress.
Progreso.
Any objection, counsel?
¿Alguna objeción?
So staff has suggested that we continue this case for 3 months, which should give you enough time to get everything taken care of.
Entonces, para darle este tiempo de que rectifique lo que tiene que hacer.
Sí, dile que yo lo voy a rectificar, ya estamos trabajando en eso y lo vamos a hacer mucho antes del tiempo requerido.
Yes, we are already working on that, and we're going to do that before that time.
We'll make sure we give you enough time, though, to do it. Just keep in contact with the officer, Mr.
Manténgase en
Guevara,
contacto con el oficial, con el señor Guevara.
Seguro.
so that he can check on the
Entonces, que él pueda
situation.
chequear esta
And if
situación.
everything is taken care of,
Y
then
para que él
this case can
tome
be
cuidado de esto
taken away.
y que se le quite este caso.
Ok, perfecto, muchas gracias.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much.
All right, based on the testimony I've heard
Basado en el testimonio que escuché
this morning,
esta mañana,
I hereby continue
yo escuché
case number 2602-116-647 to the code enforcement hearing on October 7th, 2026 at 9 a.m.
a las 9 de la mañana.
Ok.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Case number 2602-116-700. Location of the violation is 6009 Myrtle Drive in Fort Pierce. Property owners are John E. and Maria E. Caravubias. Is anybody here representing the property on Myrtle Drive? I see no one, but I do see the investigating officer, Josh Guevara, so you're up.
Thank you, Mr. Krieger. For the record, I'm submitting 4 photos taken by Genesee County Water Quality Inspector Jim O'Connor on November 3rd, 2025, and 2 photos taken by myself June 29th, 2026. 6009 Myrtle Drive was found in violation of section 7.07.00 for a failed culvert pipe. A notice of violation letter was issued by Water Quality on January 14th, 2026. After receiving no compliance, a notice of violation letter was issued by code enforcement on February 23rd, 2026, and a notice to appear letter was issued on March 10th, 2026 for the code board hearing of May 6th, 2026. At the May 6th, 2026 code enforcement hearing, property was found in violation by default. As of today's date, the property remains in violation, and I've had absolutely no contact with the property owner.
And staff is recommending a fine of $250 a day, starting June 6th,
Yes.
with a maximum fine of $30,000.
Yes, that's based off of the lack of communication and also property value.
Thank you, Mr. Guevara.
Yep.
In reference to case number 2602-116700, I, as special magistrate, make the following determination. After hearing the facts in this case, the testimony, and the report of staff that the violation still exists, and having considered the gravity of the violation, the actions, if any, taken by the violator to correct the violation, and any previous violations, I make the following determination. A fine of $250 per day shall be imposed for each day the violation exists, starting June 6th, 2026, with a maximum fine not to exceed $30,000. That concludes our fine hearings for this morning. Next up on the agenda, violation hearings. This is where the county will cite the violations, and you, if you're cited, will have an opportunity to tell me what you're doing and whether or not you are in violation. We'll take any evidence, any testimony you have, you'll be put under oath, and then I'll determine based on the facts whether there is a violation or not. So we'll start with case number 2603-116823. The location of the violation is 10701 South Ocean Drive, 909 in Jensen Beach. The property owner is Jeremy Spears, and this case was continued from May 6, 2026. I see two gentlemen here. Please state your names, your addresses, and be sworn in.
Name's Jeremy Spears, address 10701 South Ocean Drive, lot 909.
And you, sir?
Robert Zerlin, 500 Northwest 94th Street, Miami, Florida.
Please both raise your right hands. Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
All right, we'll hear from Ms. Moyes. Sorry. Ms. Moyes, you are the investigating officer. Tell me what you found.
For the record, I am resubmitting a copy of the property appraiser's record card photo dated September 27, 2021, which shows what the mobile home previously looked like. 3 photos taken by County Inspector Paul DeCentes, dated March 11, 2026. 4 photos taken by Code Enforcement Officer Brian Alves, dated March 11, 2026. And 3 photos dated May 4, 2026, taken by myself. I am submitting 1 photo dated June 29, 2026, taken by myself. The property located at 10701 South Ocean Drive, Unit 909, was found in violation for Section 11.05.01 Building and Sign Permits to please obtain a permit for the renovations being done to the interior and exterior of the mobile home. A notice of violation was issued on March 11, 2026, with a correction date of March 25th, 2026. After getting no compliance, a notice to appear was issued on April 6, 2026 for the May 6, 2026 special magistrate meeting. At the May 6, 2026 special magistrate meeting, the owner and the owner's contractor were present. The special magistrate made a decision to continue the case to the July 1st, 2026 special magistrate meeting. Permit number PNRL-2603-000030 was filed on March 25th, 2026 for stucco work done to the exterior. However, the permit was denied. I have had contact with the owner and his contractor. As of June 30th, 2026, the property remains in violation.
Hi,
How are you?
I gave you a couple of months. Why no new permit?
We're waiting for the stucco. That's the only thing we're waiting on, and whole house engineering is supposed to be coming out. Because of the flooring, it has 2x6s at the bottom, so they just have to come out and look at it before they stamp it to make sure. And they're supposed to be coming out this week.
Oh, they are?
Yes.
Okay. But right now, you're still in violation?
Yes.
Okay, so if I find you in violation, if you get this taken care of and get the permit, then the case goes away.
Okay.
And no fine will be imposed. Okay, but we'll...
Yeah, we have the windows and the interior taken care of. We're just waiting on the stucco.
Okay,
From whole house
how does
engineering.
that sound, Mr. Jernigan?
I have no objections to that.
All right. So you said you really should be able to apply for this permit within the next week or two?
I'm hoping so, yes, as soon as they get us the stamp.
Okay.
I didn't want to submit just the windows and the interior because he said, Mr. Michael said to do it as a general alterations for the complete.
That's correct.
Okay, we'll give you a little more time. You're obviously taking the steps to take care of everything here, but I want to move it along, the case.
Okay.
And so what we'll do is, okay. I'm looking at a compliance date of August 26th, 2026. That's almost 2 months for you to get it done. And that will give the officer enough time, then, if it's not in compliance, for the fine hearing to inspect, right? Okay. In reference to case number 2603-116823, I, as special magistrate, make the following determination. After hearing the facts in this case, the testimony, and the recommendation of staff with regard to the existence of a violation, I determine the violation in fact did occur and the alleged violator committed the violation. An order of enforcement is warranted if the order of enforcement is not complied with by August 26th, 2026. A fine of up to $250 per day may be imposed. A cost of $200 has been imposed as the cost for prosecuting this case. Please take notice that on the first Wednesday of the month, after the date given for compliance at 9 a.m. or soon thereafter as may be heard, a fine hearing will be held if the violation is not abated by the given compliance date. Okay, so you have to August 26th, 2026. Thank you. Case number 2602-116650. Location of violation 2746 Mohawk Avenue, Fort Pierce. Property owners are Brian Smith and Kelly Smith of Vero Beach. Anybody here? Are the Smiths here? Anybody for the property? If not, we're gonna move on. Case number 2604-117096. Location of the violation is the vacant lot behind 2817 South 28th Street in Fort Pierce. Property owner is Mario Villagomez, but this case has been abated. Case number 2512-116391. Location of violation 1810 Paseo Avenue, Fort Pierce. Property owners are Juana Ruiz and Manuel Ruiz. Good morning.
Good morning.
Please state your name and your address and be sworn in by the secretary.
Juana Ruiz, 1810 Paseo Avenue, Fort Pierce.
Please raise your right hand. Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Ms. Ruiz, we'll hear from the investigating officer, Brian Alves, and then you'll have an opportunity to discuss this case with me.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you, Your Honor?
I am well. How are you this morning on
Doing
July
well, sir.
1st?
Thank you.
Okay.
For the record, I am submitting 6 photos dated 12/19/2025, 5 dated 6/29/2026, and 2 aerial photos from the St. Lucie Land Use and Planning website. 1810 Paseo Ave was found in violation of Section 11.05.01 Building and Sign Permits. Please obtain permits for the sheds structures. 38-26 outside storage. Outside storage items are not permitted. Please remove the items. A notice of violation letter was issued on 1/2/19/2025 after receiving no compliance. A notice to appear letter was issued on 05/29/2026 for the code enforcement hearing of 07/01/2026. As of 6/29/2026, the property remains in violation. The property was posted on 6/4/2026. I have been in contact with the property owner.
Thank you. Ms. Ruiz, you've heard what Mr. Alves had to say. Tell me what's going on.
We built a gazebo in the back. It started to where it was just going to be like a board sidewalk for what's it called? For I can't even think of the word. Well, anyways, I had such a hard time finding a engineer to come and do the permitting for the gazebo. I finally found one. I do have a contract in hand to put in evidence that it's being worked on.
May I see the contract?
Yes.
Please show it to the officer.
Sure.
Show it to counsel for the county.
But all the other stuff has been removed.
All the junk, trash, and debris has been removed?
Yeah.
Mr. Alves, all the junk, trash, and...
I have not had access to the back of the property. When last time I was there, it was still there, but I'd be more than willing to go out whenever she would allow me to go onto the property and verify it, and then I can abate that part of the case.
That's fine.
Yeah, please allow Mr. Alves, work with him. He wants to work with you, so let him on the property. He needs to see that everything's been taken away, so
Yes,
we
sir.
can get that part of the case
Yes,
dismissed.
it's just family issues.
And Your Honor, I've only seen the structures that are in the pictures from the aerial photos and from the street, so it's a little bit difficult to judge on some of them. But again, I'd be more than happy with the landowner's permission to go back there and you know, help them figure it out. The one structure that is all the way towards the end on the east side of the property, going back in the photos from the aerial website, it does appear to be a very old structure. And again, I could confirm that with the landowner, and we could go from there.
Very good. Would you like to see?
Sure.
We have a engineer-owner agreement, and the engineer is requesting an extension for 30 days for sufficient time to complete the design and supply signed and sealed construction documents to the homeowner. Very good. It looks like you're taking the steps necessary
I'm
to get
trying.
this matter
It's very
resolved.
hard.
All right, your engineer is asking for 30 days. I'm going to give you 60 days.
Okay,
Because sometimes I know how these things take a little longer. Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor. I just want to point out for the record that it's not just the gazebo. There are other structures on the property that will also need permits. There are 2 other sheds, at least, that we can see from the aerial photos.
The handmade shed, the newer version one, that's gonna be torn down.
Okay.
The engineer said that has, there's no way to save it because of how it was made. And the, older shed, it has a permit. Home Depot, I bought it from Home Depot.
Okay.
And I do have evidence of the
You have
permit.
evidence of the permit
For the, older shed,
for
yes.
the older shed?
Yeah, we can verify that, Your Honor.
They can verify that in the records.
Okay.
So if that is indeed the
Because
case.
it's in our deed. I mean, not the deed, but the, you know, the house sketch. It should be on there anyways.
And that may be the one that I was referring to that goes back to at least prior to 2014.
On this, I mean.
Well,
It should be on there, but it's not. It shows that it's the gazebo, but the gazebo has never been permitted.
Okay.
So,
But you're going to get it permitted.
yes, we're
Okay,
working on
let's
it.
continue this case. Case number 2512-116-391. Let's continue this to our code enforcement hearing of September 2nd, 2026. Okay, so in the meantime, if you get everything submitted and the permit is issued, you probably won't have to come back.
I hope so.
Okay? All right. Good luck to you.
All right, thank you, sir.
September 2nd. Case number 2512-116-340. Location of violation 2113 Edwin Avenue in Fort Pierce. The property owner is Scott Jacob and Mary Jacob, and this case has been rescheduled to our August hearing. Case number 2604-117-121, location of violation 3502 Avenue K, Fort Pierce. The property owner is Blondell G. Wilcher. Anybody here for that property? Seeing no one, we'll move on. The next 2 cases are companion cases. Case number 2504-114957. Location of the violation is 4675 North US Highway 1 in Fort Pierce. The property owner is Arellano Group LLC out of Vero Beach. And I'll read the second case as well. Case number 2505-115047. Location of the violation is 4675 North US Highway 1, Fort Pierce, and the tenant in this property, Treasure Coast Trucks. So we have a property owner and we have a tenant for this property. I've been informed by staff that in both cases, Section C on the agenda, Section 36-1, has been abated. All right, sir, state your name and your address.
Good morning, Your Honor. It's Miguel Hernandez. I'm at 1350 19th Ave Southwest in Vero Beach, Florida.
Please raise your right hand. You affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes.
Do you represent the property owner or the tenant?
Both.
Both?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Let's hear from the investigating officer, Mr. Morera.
For the record, I am submitting 2 photos dated October the 2nd, 2025, 2 photos dated June 5th, 2026, 4 photos dated June the 18th, 2026, 3 photos dated June 29th, 2026, and 1 photo from the property appraiser website showing the area of the location. During my inspection, I found the property located at 4675 North US 1 to be in violation of Section 11.05.00, procedures for obtaining a development permit. A zoning compliance required to run a car dealership from the property. Section 32-93, operation and parking of motor vehicles. Please cease parking on the county's right of way. I issued a notice of violation letter on May 6, 2025, and gave a compliance date on May 20, 2025. After getting a compliance certified notice to appear for the July 1st, 2026 Code Board meeting, was issued June the 3rd, 2026, and posted on June 5th, 2026. I have remained in contact with the tenant, and a zoning compliance 2505-000500 application was submitted May the 19th, 2025, and is currently on awaiting applicant status. As of June 29, 2026, the property remains in violation. Case 115047. For the record, I am submitting 2 photos dated June 5th, 2026, 5 photos dated June the 18th, 2026, 3 photos dated June the 29th, 2026, and 1 photo from the property appraiser website. During my inspection, I found the property located at 4675 North US 1 to be in violation of Section 11.05.00, procedure for obtaining a development permit. A zoning compliance required to run a car dealership from the property. Section 32-93, operation and parking of motor vehicles. Please cease parking on the county's right of way. I issued a notice of violation later on July 25th, 2025, and gave a compliance date of August 8, 2025. After getting a compliance certified notice to appear for the July 1st, 2026 Code Board meeting, was issued June 3rd, 2026, and posted on June 5th, 2026. I have remained in contact with the tenant. A zoning compliant 2505-000500 application was submitted May 19, 2025, and is currently on awaiting applicant status. As of June 2026, the property remains in violation.
Thank you, Mr. Morera.
You're welcome.
My understanding, how long have you been operating this car dealership there?
Since
It's over a year?
September 2023. Yes, sir.
It's almost 3 years
Yes, sir.
operating illegally.
Yes, sir.
I mean, that's what it is.
Yep.
Tell me, why?
So what happened initially, it was just, I guess, ignorance. I wasn't aware that a zoning compliance, a zoning permit was required to run the dealership. And as soon as I was notified of the zoning permit that was not existent, to run the car dealership. I immediately started working on the application to come into compliance with the zoning permit. There was a request for a life safety plan, which took me a little bit to get a hold of due to finding an architect and the cost. I started working on that, and I was later informed that I wasn't going to be able to get the zoning compliance because there was site development issues. So I have the life safety plan and I have everything else for the zoning permit, but I cannot move forward with the zoning permit due to the fact that there are site development issues on the property that I wasn't sure if I was going to proceed to do business there, but now I'm moving forward and I'm doing my best to come into compliance as soon as possible.
You're still parking on county right-of-way too?
No, I seized that about a month ago when I was told I could not. That picture right there, we were in the middle of cleaning out the back. I have a picture here of the same day after we cleaned up the mess we had, because we had to pull out some of the vehicles to clean out back to make room so we wouldn't have to park out front. So yeah, I seized parking on the county right away. I also received a notice from FDOT that I could not park there, so I've been in contact with them to figure that out. They said that they're possibly working to get a lease for me.
Yes, Ms. Guy.
Thank you. I'd like to point out that there is a scribbage error on the agenda. The notice of violation was issued May 6, 2025, not May 6, 2026. Just so you have that correct information.
Well over a year ago.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
And the other one was issued July 1st, 2025, under Treasure Coast?
July 25th, 2025, for case 115047.
Okay, so one was a little, for the property owner, was a little earlier than the other.
That's
But
correct.
regardless, it's over a year when this case has been sitting. I see our business navigator is sitting here. Do you have anything to add to this case?
Sure, good morning again. As Miguel explained, he did apply promptly in May 2025. His most recent corrections report was July of 2025, and as he explained, the delay in resubmittal has been because he has to get both a life safety plan in order to change the use of the building, and he needs to work with his engineer on the improvements to the property itself, the site development permit. He is going to need to do some paving and the related stormwater related to that. He has requested a meeting for his engineer to meet with our public works staff, and we anticipate that will happen the week of July 13th.
For a meeting, and that's when you're basically gonna have to tell him what he's gotta do.
Yes, clarify anything
Which
with
is
the
gonna be a
engineer.
lot.
I do know from experience that if he does need to get a lease agreement with FDOT, that can be a slow process. We may be able to approve the zoning compliance with the contingency being that the FDOT license be completed. We have done that for other applicants on that stretch of US 1 who needed the right-of-way for their parking. FDOT gets cranky about it, though.
But what concerns me is this business has been operating illegally for over 3 years.
Yes.
It doesn't look good.
No.
It's the north end of the county, people coming in.
We keep trying to change the impression they get when they first arrive.
Yeah, and this is not good.
Your Honor, if I can say something.
Go ahead.
I wasn't aware it was, like I said, I needed a zoning permit to operate there. I thought my dealer license and I was good with the state was sufficient. I was in Indian River County before, and I wasn't familiar with the St. Lucie County requirements of a zoning permit. And as soon as I was informed of it, I took immediate action.
Well, you have a meeting stated. I'm going to find you in violation. I can't let this case just sit here. This is serious, and it's been going on way too long. So what we're going to do is I'm going to find you in violation today. I'll give you a little time.
Yes, sir.
So you'll have a meeting in a few weeks, see what you got to do. Then a fine hearing is going to be set, and you can come back at that time, tell me what you've done, and we'll decide whether we should fine you at that point.
Yes, sir.
Okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. So if I do August 26th, and this will come back before us on September 2nd, correct, Mr. Morera?
Yes, sir.
Because you'll have an opportunity to take a look. That's what I'm looking at, basically 2 months, all right?
Your Honor, I have a question.
Go ahead.
I know I spoke with the business navigator already, and she said that I could not get the zoning permit until the site development was completed. Is there any way that, since I have all the other requirements done, that we can move forward with the zoning permit so I can be in compliance as far as that?
I don't have the authority to do that.
I would defer to you because I do understand that there's a life safety plan that has been requested on this.
Yes, ma'am, I have it here.
Okay, have you uploaded that, Miguel?
No,
I was gonna
have
say that'll
not,
have to be
because of-
submitted.
I'm sorry?
That'll have to be submitted for us to review.
Yes, sir. Okay, yeah, I had not because, again, I was told that it wouldn't be sufficient for me to get the zoning permit.
I would recommend submitting the life safety plan, allowing the building department to review, and then in the meantime, having the meeting with Public Works later this month, and they could then make a determination on whether the zoning compliance can be issued conditionally or not.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Anything else, I'd be writing fiction.
I get it. Okay, so then we would have an answer basically by August 26th.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate you guys.
Let me officially do this.
Yep.
I have to do 2 motions, one for each case. In reference to case number 2504-114-957, I, as special magistrate, make the following determination. After hearing the facts in this case, the testimony and the recommendation of staff with regard to the existence of a violation, I determine the violation in fact did occur, and the alleged violator committed the violation. An order of enforcement is warranted. If the order of enforcement is not complied with by August 26, 2026, a fine of up to $250 per day may be imposed. A cost of $200 has been imposed as the cost for prosecuting this case. Please take notice that on the first Wednesday of the month, after the date given for compliance at 9 a.m. or soon thereafter as may be heard, a fine hearing will be held if the violation is not abated by the given compliance date. In reference to case number 2505-115-047, I, as special magistrate, make the following determination. After hearing the facts in this case, the testimony, and the recommendation of staff with regard to the existence of a violation, I determine the violation in fact did occur and the alleged violator committed the violation. An order of enforcement is warranted. If the order of enforcement is not complied with by August 26, 2026, a fine of up to $250 per day may be imposed. A cost of $200 has been imposed as a cost for prosecuting this case. Please take notice that on the first Wednesday of the month, after the date given for compliance at 9 a.m. or soon thereafter as may be heard, a fine hearing will be held if the violation is not abated by the given compliance date. Okay, you know what you got to do.
Yes,
All
sir.
right?
I appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you.
It's 10:15. We're going to take a brief recess at this time for everybody, and we'll resume at 10:30. Thank you. We'll reconvene for our violation hearings. Case number 2605-117-468. Location of violation 204 Bay Street in Port St. Lucie. Property owner is Shelley Mitrick, and this case has been abated. Case number 2605-117-369. Location of violation 407 Coconut Avenue E, Port St. Lucie. Property owner Tigana Bissell, and this case has been abated as well. Case number 2604-117-080. Location of violation 5106 Deanna Lane in Fort Pierce. The property owner is Kathy B. Mills. Anybody here for that property? Seeing no one, we'll move on. Case number 2604-117-056. Location of violation 1109 North 39th Street in Fort Pierce. The property owner is Jesse Howard. Anybody here for that property? All right. Let's move on. Case number 2605-117-245. Location of violation 140 Southeast Prima Vista Boulevard in Port St. Lucie. The property owner is Norris Bishop Investments Incorporated. Anybody here representing that company? Seeing no one, we'll move on. Case number 2604-116-973. Location of violation 5807 Myrtle Drive, Fort Pierce. The property owner is John Ward. Is anybody here? I see a gentleman approaching. Please state your name, address, and be sworn in.
My name is John Ward, address 5807 Myrtle Drive.
Please raise your right hand. Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Ward. We'll hear from the investigating officer first, and that's Josh Quivera.
Thank you, Mr. Krieger. For the record, I'm submitting 4 photos dated December 9th, 2025, taken by Stormwater Inspector James O'Connor, and 2 dated June 29th, 2026, taken by myself. 5807 Myrtle Drive was found in violation of section 7.07.00 for a failed culvert pipe. Notice of violation letter was issued on April 9th, 2026, and a notice to appear letter was issued on April 24th, 2026 for the July 1st, 2026 code enforcement hearing. Permit DWR 2606-001604 was applied for on June 26th, and it's in review. As of now, the property is still in violation. The property owner, Mr. Ward, is here. He's been in contact with Mr. O'Connor, and he's here to request more time so he could complete the work.
Okay, very good. Mr. O'Connor, do you have anything to add at this point?
Morning, sir. Not really. Spoke to Mr. Ward before the meeting commenced. He's looking at his best possible options. He informed me he's going to go utilize our culvert assistance program. So that will take a couple days to get a minimum of 2 quotes, and once they're submitted to Barbara Gettler, the paperwork process is pretty streamlined after that. I mean, it is impeding drainage currently. We are in rainy season. All the neighbors in the surrounding area have pretty much replaced all their pipes based on the letters I got, except for a couple down the northern end. They're also in the process of the CAP program. So the gentleman seems he wants to take the right steps forward, and the reason we kept it open is because when it makes it to this point, we need to at least pass a pre-pour inspection to verify that the work is progressing.
Okay, very good. So how long do you think before he can get this all done?
So if he were to start today, by the time he got 2 quotes with a holiday weekend, I mean, you could basically rule out a week at the very least. I think within 60 days, he should be able to get it all done. Once he signs up for the CAP, there's no longer waiting for the meeting. Barb puts it on there and records it immediately. So it's a pretty streamlined process. However, it's basically on the contractors at that point, once the financial agreement's signed. Mr. Ward's basically out of it. It's now, when can the contractor come out? And we've had Sea Grape, Birch, and Myrtle in Indian River Estates. We've done multiple streets, so they are pretty busy.
Mr. Ward?
How you doing?
Hi, how you doing? It sounds like you're doing what you're supposed to do.
Trying. It took a while because I was having an issue with the proper procedure of getting the permit situation. I actually had to reach out to my neighbor to have them actually kind of guide me and navigate me to what to do. But since then, the permits have been filed and fees have been paid. It's just a matter of getting signed up for this program to.
Yeah. Okay, you know what, I'm gonna continue this case, I think. Staff doesn't object, so that, I mean, hopefully, everything will take care of itself and it won't even come back. Counsel, any objection to a continuance?
No objection, Your Honor.
Okay. You said 60 days, why don't we give it, rainy season, contractors are busy. I get it. So let's continue this case. I'm going to continue case number 2604-116-973 to the code enforcement hearing of October 7th, 2026. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Case number 2604-116-982, location of violation, 345 Sandia Avenue in Port St. Lucie. Property owner is Julia Larson J. Luis. Julierson. Okay. I hope I pronounced your name properly. Probably not, so you'll have to correct me, all right? So when you give your name to the secretary, give your name and address, and we'll go from there.
Good morning. Jewel Darrison Lewis, 3055 Northwest 72nd Avenue, Margate, Florida.
Will you be speaking as well, ma'am?
She
Okay, you'll have to give your name and address. Okay.
Mimos Joseph, 3055 Northwest 72nd Avenue, Margate, Florida. I am his mother.
Okay, please raise your right hand. Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, so Jewel Darrison.
Yes.
That's the proper way to pronounce. Okay. All right, the investigating officer is Mr. Guevara. We'll hear from him first, and then you can tell me what you're doing. Sir.
Thank you, Mr. Krieger. For the record, I am submitting 9 photos taken April 13th, 2026, and 1 dated June 29th, 2026. I also added 4 photos from a previous case from April 16th, 2024, depicting the pool. 345 Sandia Avenue was found in violation of Section 110501. The pool was demoed without a permit. A notice of violation letter was issued on April 13th, 2026, and after receiving no compliance, a notice to appear letter was issued on April 29th, 2026, for the Code Board hearing of July 1st, 2026. As of today's date, July 1st, 2026, the property remains in violation. I did not have contact with the property owner until Monday, when she called and stated that she did not need a permit for the pool removal or for the pool demo because she had spoken to somebody in the county who told her no pool permit was required. Explained to her that this had been reviewed by the building official and that a permit was required. And she said she would be here at the hearing to talk to the special magistrate. I do also want to point out, Mr. Special Magistrate, that there are 2 previous code cases with liens against this property from November 6, 2024. There's a $10,000 lien for a ceiling, roof, and disrepair, and there's another $10,000 lien for rotted wood, plumbing issues, electrical issues, and the unsanitary pool, which was taken care of by demoing it without a permit.
Is this a rental property?
Yes.
Are there people residing there? At this time,
Yes.
other people are residing?
Yes.
Okay, please tell me why you haven't gotten a permit
Oh.
to get rid of the pool.
Okay, I called the county and spoke to Mr. Dan, and then he said if it's above ground pool, you don't need no permit for that.
Mr. Who?
Dan. Dan, who worked for the permit department.
Dan?
Yes.
What's his last name?
I didn't take his last name.
When did
From
you talk to
permit
him?
department. In January, since January, I spoke to him, and then we demolished the pool in January because he said above ground pool, no permit for that.
Go ahead,
Guy,
Ms.
Code
Guy.
Enforcement Supervisor. We don't have a Dan in permitting. I'm not sure if she spoke to a planner named Dawn in the zoning department.
Dawn, yes.
But still, that is not a regulation that's not what they would give that information. It's incorrect.
Dawn?
There's a Dawn, D-O-N, in the Planning and Zoning Department.
Yes.
Another thing, Mr. Krieger, I spoke to the property owner on Monday when she called. This has been open since April. And I told her if she had called me earlier, I could have told her what our code enforcement and the building official stance was on it. She didn't want to hear it. She said that person told her no permit was required, and that was it. But again, a permit per the building official who reviewed this would have been required for the removal of that pool.
You don't have anything in writing from the county saying that you don't need a demolition permit?
He told me, and then I said, are you sure? He said, yes, above ground pool doesn't need no permit for removal.
You said he, but they're saying there's not a he, there's a she, Dawn.
No,
Don is a he, but
He's a he.
Don works for the planning and zoning department. He doesn't work in the building
Dawn
division.
is his, okay, he
He's
works for
the
the planning
one
and
who told
zoning. Why did you call planning and zoning and not the code inspector who cited you?
No, I didn't have no code inspector who cite me. I did that since January 10, 2026, and then he gave me that citation on April. The pool has been demolished since January.
Right, and since April until June 28th, I did not get a call from her. This could have been taken care of with a phone call between April and June 28th, where I would have explained to you that a permit was required.
How come I called the county and then I spoke to the person who's supposed to give me the permit and he said I don't need no permit for that?
That person doesn't give a permit. That person works for a different division, not the building division. Are you sure that you called the county and not one of the cities?
No, I called and then he said I don't need no permit.
Okay.
For above ground, and the pool has been removed since January. And then he came on April.
I think there's a misconception too. She feels like since it was removed prior to me being there, no permit is required. It doesn't matter when it was done, a permit is still required, even if we see it after the fact. A permit is still
And I
required.
understand that, Mr. Guevara, but if somebody at the county told her she didn't need it, so I can understand why there might be some confusion at that point, even though she went to the wrong department. Is it possible, I'd really like to
I'm not
hear-
sure. I do wanna-
I'd like to hear from Dawn, that whether or not she spoke to this lady.
Yes, I
Or
did.
he.
I understand that I do want to point out again, there's 2 liens from a previous
I
case.
understand that,
There's a history of this property of not taking care of
Not
violations.
good, yeah, not good.
Your Honor, my understanding was that regardless of the conversation that the owner had with Dawn from planning, it was explained to her in detail that that was still not sufficient and that a permit was still necessary.
Okay,
Yeah,
so-
and I mean, even moving forward, if that obviously we apologize if there was misinformation given, but a permit still will be required.
Yeah, so
I'm
if
not
somebody gave you
opposed
wrong
to giving
information-
But it's not my fault. Your
Well,
Honor.
but you're still gonna need a permit,
Yeah,
regardless
but
of
the
whether
pool
some-
has been removed long time ago, since
But
January.
You can get an after-the-fact
I
permit
get
on
it
that.
after the fact.
You can get an after-the-fact permit, correct?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah,
For
for
the
demolition,
demolition.
yeah, and it's very simple.
It's right over the counter,
Site drawn
isn't it?
plan. Oh, what's that?
What is the procedure for getting a permit to demo after the fact?
It's already been.
Being that it's a demolition, it would just be a site drawn plan showing where the pool was and that it's being removed. It's very simple.
Sounds very simple. You're gonna need to get the permit, okay? Somebody misspoke, but then you were told subsequently that you do need it. So it's called an after-the-fact permit, meaning that just give them a little drawing and they'll, pay a little fee. What's the fee for that demo, do you know?
I don't know the fee schedule off the top of my head. I can get that information though this
Yeah, you can
afternoon.
get that, and then after the fact, you got the permit, the case goes away. But Mr. Guevara did point out you have several other cases you never took care of. And you have fines against those properties. That's not good. Your record is not good as a landlord. It's not good at all. Anything else? Anything else? Okay. All right, anything else? All right, in case number 2604-116-982, I, as special magistrate, make the following determination. After hearing the facts in this case, the testimony and the recommendation of staff with regard to the existence of a violation, I determine the violation in fact did occur and the alleged violator committed the violation. An order of enforcement is warranted. If the order of enforcement is not complied with by August 26, 2026, a fine of up to $250 per day may be imposed. You're not getting a fine today. The cost of $200 has been imposed, though, as the cost for prosecuting this case. Please take notice that on the first Wednesday of the month, after the date given for compliance at 9 a.m. or soon thereafter, as may be heard, a fine hearing will be held if the violation is not abated by the given compliance date. Okay, so you got till August 26. Get with the planning department, get that taken care of.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. You can get that done. Next case, 2412-114-241. Location of violation 45 Sierra del Norte, Fort Pierce. The property owner is Robert Province. Anybody here for that property? If none, we'll move on. Case number 2503-114750. Location of violation, 2502 Tamaran Drive, Fort Pierce. Property owner is Adriana M. Montes. Good morning.
Good morning.
Please state your name and address and be sworn in.
My name is Adriana Montes.
Could you speak into the microphone a little louder, please?
My name is Adriana Montes.
And your address?
I'm at 2502 North Tamarind Drive, North Hutchinson Island, 34949.
Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
All right, thank you. Ms. Montes, we're going to hear from the investigating officer, Michael Winkler, first, and then we'll go from there.
Hello.
We're going to hear from Paula Guy.
That's correct. This
Go ahead.
case was previously assigned to Officer Winkler, and it has been reassigned to myself, Code Enforcement Supervisor Paula Guy. On March 28, 2026, there was a complaint received regarding unpermitted restoration projects with no permits. For the records, all photos that were taken by Officer Winkler submitted were taken on March 31st, 2025. Remaining photo taken by myself on June 29th, 2026. 2502 Tamarind was found in violation of section 11.05.01, the building and sign permits. A permit is required for the AC mini splits installation. A notice of violation was issued on August 7th, 2025, with a compliance date of August 29th, 2025. The notice to appear was issued on June 19th, 2026, and delivered by posting to the property on June 19th, 2026, for today's hearing. The required permit, MECC 2605112180, was applied for on May 26, 2026. The permit is awaiting of subcontractor paperwork to be submitted to the county building department. As of 6/24/2026, the communication was established with myself, with Chris, who is a property representative on site, and he was able to update on the permit of the status of, that they're pending for the resubmittals requirements, and I provided that hearing attendance was required. As of today's date, the property remains in violation.
Yes, all of that is correct. At this point, we are awaiting the signature of the contractor to finalize this subcontractor agreement and be submitted to the Planning and Development Services. After that, then we will be in need of an inspection, some work and an inspection, and then we will be in compliance.
Right, okay. And I understand that, but you were cited about a year ago, right?
That's correct.
So what's taken so long?
I had a lot of issues getting contractors and getting bids back and forth, so it was really hard to find somebody who will do all the work at a reasonable price as well.
Okay.
But I'm almost on the finish line, so I appreciate if you give us some grace and some time.
Some time to, so how long should this take to get completed?
It shouldn't take no more than 30 days. The review's already been approved. We're literally just waiting on the electrical sub-agreement, which has to be signed by the primary contractor.
Okay.
Once you sign that, the contractor said that they're scheduled to do the work July 14, and then after that I have to request an inspection.
Right.
So maybe 60 days?
Yeah, I'm thinking August 26th, which is almost 60 days. You get what I mean? Anybody got a problem with that?
No.
Okay, that'll be almost 60 days. That'll work out. All right.
Okay, thank you.
In reference to case number 2503-114750, I, as special magistrate, make the following determination. After hearing the facts in this case, the testimony and the recommendation of staff with regard to the existence of a violation, I determine the violation in fact did occur and the alleged violator committed the violation. An order of enforcement is warranted. If the order of enforcement is not complied with by August 26, 2026, a fine of up to $250 per day may be imposed. A cost of $200 has been imposed as a cost for prosecuting this case. Please take notice that on the first Wednesday of the month, after the date given for compliance at 9 a.m. or soon thereafter, as may be heard, a fine hearing will be held if the violation is not abated by the given compliance date. Okay, so you have to August 26 to get this taken care of, and there'll be no fine. Okay?
Thank you so much.
Case number 2412-114271. Location of the violation is 181 Calle de Lagos, Fort Pierce, and the property owner is Robert Lehman. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Please state your name and address and be sworn in.
My name is Robert Lehman, I live at 181 Cali de Lagos, Fort Pierce, Florida.
Please raise your hand. Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you, sir. We'll hear from the investigating officer, then you'll have an opportunity to tell me what's going on. I believe, Paula Guy, you're handling this as well?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Again, for the record, this case was previously assigned to Officer Winkler, reassigned to myself, Code Enforcement Supervisor Paula Guy. On December 7th, 2024, citizen complaints received regarding carport structures on the property has been replaced with no permits obtained. For the record, all photos taken by Officer Winkler submitted were taken on November 18th, 2024, December 7th, 2024, and the remaining photo taken on June 29th, 2026. 181 Cala de Lagos was found in violation of Section 11.05.01, building and sign permits. A permit is required for the carport that was installed. A notice of violation was issued December 9th, 2024, with a compliance date of December 7th, 2024. The notice to appear for today's hearing was issued on April 29th, 2026, in delivery by certified mail, confirmation to owner on May 6, 2026. The required permit BLDR 2509009866 was applied for on September 17th, 2025. The permit resubmittals requests to the permit applicant are still awaiting a response. I was able to establish communication with the property owner just yesterday, and of course he is here today on very short notice to discuss the requirements and the pending resubmittals that he's trying to get done.
Mr. Lehman, can you tell me what you're doing?
My understanding is the big problem is the engineering drawing. Two parts of it does not comply with what is needed. I'm going to have to go down to Port St. Lucie to try to get the engineer to correct this. I had been using a non-licensed contractor, which I know is not smart, and he has absconded with some of my material, and I'm stuck now. And the first of this year, I know everybody's got an excuse, but the first of this year, I wasn't able to do a lot because I had open heart surgery, and I'm recovered enough now to where I can actually start correcting the issue. If I could get the engineering report to meet standards, I could have it completed within a matter of 30 days or less, if I can get the material.
So who are you going to go to in Port St. Lucie, you said? You got an engineer's name? You got that worked out?
Are you still working with the same engineer that you submitted with?
It's
Are you still working with the engineer that you submitted with?
It's Dylan O'Berry.
Okay, yeah. It is.
That's the same
Yeah,
engineer
it's the
he's
same
been working
engineer.
with? Do you think this can be straightened out by that engineer?
I would probably give 60 to 90 days.
60 to 90
It is a
days.
minor detail, but engineers aren't the quickest.
Yeah, I know. They're all kind of backed up. So saying 90 days. And you had open heart surgery. I understand that for sure. Okay, I'm going to continue this case.
Thank you.
All right, I'm going to continue this case. I'm going to continue this case for 90 days.
Okay, thank
And
you,
that
sir.
should give you enough time, hopefully get this all squared away. Where's that located, in Spanish Lakes or?
Yes.
Spanish
Yes,
Lakes?
it was a result of the tornado damages out there.
Oh, okay. So this was Spanish Lakes?
Yes.
Where the
Yeah,
tornado
north,
dam-
Country Club, I think, is the
Country
sub
Club?
name to it.
Yeah, okay. All right, I'm going to continue this case 2412-114-271, to our hearing on October 7th, 2026. All right, October 7th. Case number 2605, 117375. Location of violation 550 Southwest Oroso Boulevard in Port St. Lucie. The property owner is Philip Pearson. Sir, state your name and address.
My name is Philip Pearson, and I live at 2220 Northeast Park Street, Jensen Beach.
Please be sworn in.
Please raise your right hand. You affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, I do.
All right, Mr. Pearson, we'll hear from the investigating officer, then you'll have an opportunity to speak as well. Ms. Moyes.
Yes, for the record, I am submitting a copy of the property record card photo taken on September 8th, 2023. 2 photos taken on January 28th, 2026 by Inspector Michael Lunsford, Building Inspector. 2 photos dated May 18, 2026. 1 photo dated May 30th, 2026. And 2 photos dated June 29, 2026. During my first inspection, I found a property located at 550 Southwest Oroso Boulevard in violation for Section 11.05.01 Building and Sign Permits, to please obtain a permit for the new windows, door, concrete work, duct work, the renovations being done to the interior and exterior of the home, and the enclosure of the open carport. A notice of violation was issued on May 19, 2026, with a correction date of June 2nd, 2026. After getting no compliance, a notice to appear was issued on June 9, 2026 for the July 1st, 2026 special magistrate meeting. In addition, a notice to appear was issued and posted on the property on June 16, 2026 for the July 1st, 2026 special magistrate meeting. Permit number BL-2606-011673 was filed on June 30th, 2026 and is in review. I have had contact with the owner. As of June 30th, 2026, the property remains in violation.
Mr. Pearson, you're up.
Yes, sir. This house was damaged by a person that lived there driving their truck through it, and it destroyed sort of the front door and the front window. I had originally gotten a demo permit for this because there was a lot of debris and trash, as you can imagine, from the truck hitting that front wall. I met with Peter Kaufman at the time, and I explained to him with some pictures that I showed him, and he had basically told me at that time that I could submit a drawing for the repair because it was only a 4-foot section of wall between the front door and the window that had to be replaced. So at that point, I went forward with the demo permit, and I had talked with him in a couple of sessions, different meetings pursuant to that. And today, obviously, there's like NOAs and all kinds of things that are needed besides the drawing. So at that point in time, I was also contemplating a carport, turning it to a bedroom because the house is really, really small. It's about 1,100 feet. So anyway, at the time when I spoke with the gentleman, Mr. Kaufman, I was debating whether to submit the drawing for the front wall myself or put it in with the architect doing the carport. So I had gone, it was basically mid-April that I went to the architect, Braden and Braden, around, excuse me, yeah, the 4/15, it was approximate. And I had told them I wanted to do the enclosure for the bedroom. So they told me it would take at that time about 4 weeks to get the paperwork. And I unfortunately have another issue like the prior gentleman. I have a heart condition as well, and I can only work a couple hours a day. So I'm doing this addition myself. And what I ended up, when he told me it was going to take 4 weeks to get the drawings, I thought, well, I can get a little bit of stuff done up until the point of the first inspection and be ready for that as soon as the drawings roll out and I get a permit. But unfortunately, his time frame took longer. It drug on. I didn't get the drawings from him until Monday of this week, and I submitted them yesterday, which and also talked to the lady that we was speaking about, and also I spoke to the building official. And I explained to him the dilemma that I had with the whole NOA issues and the whole thing, and, you know, repairing the front wall. And I was like, once I got into the demo and repairing the wall, I wanted to give you guys a drawing of exactly what was built, et cetera, et cetera. So what he basically said, I said, you know, I had no control over the architect. And I said, I've been pushing them for the last 3 or 4 weeks to get this done. And finally, I got the drawings from them. So as soon as I got the drawings from them, I submitted them. Now, in the meantime, I had been told by the lady that came out and cited me, I was told that on 5/19, I spoke to her, I believe it was the next day, I think it might have been 1 or 2 days after the notice stop work order. And she had told me that she had spoke to the building official and that if I was able to get the permit in 30 days, there would be no fines or no issue. So that's why I was pushing the architect. I originally thought, when like I said, mid-April, I contracted them. I thought by mid-May I would have the paperwork. But unfortunately, again, no control over them. I didn't get it until June 29th. And they basically just told me that they had a heavy workload, a lot of people in front of me, you know. So you can only push the architect so hard to get stuff done. So I spoke yesterday with the building official again. I explained to him the timeline I'm kind of outlining now. And he had mentioned to me that he did tell the lady, you know, in 30 days. He said typically you could get more time for this situation. He goes, it's probably going to take, because I just submitted the drawings to the building department, he said it's probably going to take a time for the review, a time for revisions. If there's any revisions that have to go back to the architect and get correction, update after the review, he said you're definitely going to need some more time. So that's what I'm here asking for.
Yeah, we
Mr.
spoke
Jimmy?
yesterday.
Yeah.
I would say probably between 60 and 90 days. I see that 2 of the reviews were already completed. Some of the comments are minor, but again, going back to the fact that architects and engineers are not quick in anything that they do,
Okay, yeah.
except collecting
If
invoices.
nobody has any objection, I'm inclined to continue this for 90 days. Just like the previous case. So, with regard to case number 2605-117-375, I will continue this case to the code enforcement hearing of October 7th, 2026. So you should have everything hopefully taken care of by then.
I hope so.
Yeah, we hope so, but if not, you come back, you tell me what's happening, and we'll see from there.
Yes, sir, I appreciate it. Thank you.
You bet. Have a good day. Case number 2605-117-443, location of violation 5810 Myrtle Drive, Fort Pierce. The property owner is MEJC Investments LLC. This case has been abated. believe that has to do with our violation hearings. We do have a repeat violation hearing, but we'll take that after we deal with all the defaults in the violation hearing section. So let me read them, and if I missed one, please. Everybody needs an editor. Everybody can use help. I have no problem with somebody correcting me. Let's see here. All right, let's start. Case number 2602116650, location of violation 2746 Mohawk Avenue, Fort Pierce, Florida. That's Brian Smith and Kelly Smith, property owners. Case number 2604-117121. Location of violation 3502 Avenue K, Fort Pierce. The property owner is Blondell G. Wiltshire. Case number 2604-117080. Location of violation 5106 Deanna Lane, Fort Pierce. Property owner Kathy B. Mills. Case number 2604-117056. Location of violation 1109 North 39th Street in Fort Pierce. The property owner is Jesse Howard. Case number 2605-117245. Location of violation 140 Southeast Prima Vista Boulevard in Port St. Lucie. Property owner is Norris Bishop Investments Incorporated. Case number 2412-114241. Location of violation 45 Sierra del Norte, Fort Pierce, Florida. Property owner, Robert Province. I believe that's all the cases
Yes, the halls have
where
been sounded.
nobody showed up. So have the halls been sounded?
Yes,
Thank
verify
you.
yes.
In reference to the cases read into the record, I, as special magistrate, enter an order finding that these alleged violators are in default, as they did not appear to protest the violations against them. And I adopt the recommendations of staff as set forth on the agenda. Okay, I believe we have a repeat violation case. Case number 2605-117509. Location of violation 3601 Avenue S in Fort Pierce. Property owner, Affordable Housing of Florida, LLC. Is anybody here? All right, but we'll hear from the investigating officer, Paula Guy.
Thank you. For the record, I will be submitting one photo from case number 2503-114678, dated 7/28/2025, and also a copy of the order of fines imposed. In addition, there are 3 photos submitted taken on May 27th, 2026, May 28th, 2026, and June 30th, 2026. Regarding the previous case, number 114678, this property came before the board on June 4th, 2025, and was found in violation of section 38-97, overgrowth of grass and weeds. To abate the code case, the county had to complete a lot cleanup case number 2507-000041, and county paid for a vendor to mow and trim the property to be in compliance. These cleanup fees were processed to be assessed onto the property taxes. On May 27th, 2026, the property was again in violation for Section 38-97, excessive overgrowth of grass and weeds. On May 27th, 2026, the notice of repeat violation was issued and property posted with the repeat notice on site May 28th, 2026. I have had contact with the property manager assigned to the property, and also I was able to establish communication with Mr. Hatfield. I advised them of the repeat notice and the mandatory appearance required today at today's hearing. As of today's date, the property remains in violation.
What is staff recommending in terms of a fine? We can certainly impose that today on a repeat violation. You have a maximum of $500 per day on a repeat violation. So you can give me a recommendation is what you think a fair fine is per day and when it should start.
I would like it to start from the date that the property was posted,
Which is?
May 28th,
All right,
2026.
May 28th, 26.
And a maximum fine of $20,000.
Okay. All right. Let's do this then. In reference to case number 2605-117-509, I, as special magistrate, make the following determination. After hearing the facts in this case, the testimony, and the report of staff that the violation previously committed has been repeated, and having considered the gravity of the violation, the actions, if any, taken by the violator to correct the violation, and any previous violations, I make the following determination. A fine of $250 per day shall be imposed for each day the violation exists, starting May 28th, 2026, with a maximum fine not to exceed $20,000.
Mr. Krieger?
Yes?
This is a repeat violation.
I know.
Oh, okay.
I know I could go up to $500 a day.
I see. Thank
But I'm
you.
doing
Okay.
$250 a day.
Okay,
I mean, look, we're already in May 28th, start adding it up.
thank you.
And just go with the maximum fine of $20,000.
Okay.
A cost of $200 shall be imposed as the cost for prosecuting this case. I'm always trying to get compliance, so didn't want to hit the 500 right away, but I know I can do that. I have a feeling it's going to max out anyway. You know, I hope not.
I can truly say that in regards to the repeat occurrences, when we do, get it abated, it just goes right back. It's a constant activity of code cases and complaints being received.
Yeah, okay. Well, let's do it 200 a day, 250 a day, 200 prosecution cost, and we'll start it in May 28, 26. So we already got 2 months worth of fines already. Okay. Okay, fine reduction hearing. I believe we have several. They're all basically well, let's take them one at a time. Fine reduction hearing, case number 2208-108-704. The violator is Florida Holdings 1000 LLC. The fine reduction is requested by property manager Terry Calhoun. Are you Miss Calhoun?
No, I'm not.
Oh, you're Terry Calhoun.
I'm a tenant, Sharon Sanchez.
you're a tenant?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's fine. Is Terry Calhoun going to testify too? Why don't you both be sworn in and give your addresses?
My
Please
name's
state your
Terry
name and
Calhoun.
addresses.
Okay, go ahead, Sharon.
Sharon Sanchez, 1584 Southeast Sinbad Avenue, Port St. Lucie, Florida, 34952.
Terry Calhoun, 855 Gladiola Avenue, Sebastian, Florida.
Please raise your right hand. Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
I do.
Okay, why do you think you should get a reduction?
Well, Your Honor, these are, it seems to be 7 separate fines for 2 violations. So I'm not exactly sure why every entity gets fined for the same violation, and I want to consider consolidating those or further reducing the fines.
Okay, well, we have to take them separately because everybody who has an interest in the property is liable and has been fined. So we'll take it step by step, and we have case 2208-108-704 before us first. All right. So these, okay, let me understand. All these fines were abated over 2 years ago, and fines were reduced to 1,000 for each one, however, a total 7,000. Is that what we're talking about, Ms. Guy?
The fine,
Were they reduced before?
the lien amnesty was approved for consecutively 2 years. It's difficult, the actual tenant, the occupant, business owner, not the property owner, is being held responsible to pay these fines. So multiply that times 7, it still was cumbersome that they were not able to make the payment when the program ended within that time.
So what is
So
staff
the
recommend?
total 7 cases is $70,000, reduced to 7.
that?
There was a total of 7 cases.
Yeah.
So the reduction for the lien amnesty was down to 7,000. But that
quite a-
was still
quite a
quite a large
reduction.
amount
Yeah.
for a small business owner to come up with that funding, and she wasn't able to do so.
So what is staff recommending? And what are your thoughts on this? I mean,
My
went from
thoughts are-
70,000 down to 7,000. That was a pretty
For
good-
2 violations, every entity, like you said, was cited, because there was actual 2 businesses in the units.
All the violations were cured and taken care of in
I understand that.
2024.
I understand that. So the fine began in November 2nd, 2023. They were abated in 2024, about 5 months, 6 months later.
That's correct.
So they ran for a while. Yes, counsel.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. I'm curious what the property owners could afford. So we've already reduced it substantially from 70,000 down to 7. What is an amount that would be agreeable? Because I believe this is our, and correct me if I'm wrong, Ms. Guy, our second time doing the fine reduction hearing?
There was a fine reduction hearing previously.
Okay.
The lien amnesty program offered them more of a reduction.
So it was reduced once by the Code Enforcement Board?
Yes.
And then the lien amnesty program reduced it even more?
Correct.
Okay.
When the fine is not paid within the time limits that are in place, it reduces back to the original amount.
Right.
So here we
Normally
are.
it was 30 days to pay, and then... they
Fine
did-
reduction is 30 days, lien amnesty is at the close of the program, which runs from generally April 1st to July 31st.
And was it this year's amnesty program it was reduced?
Yes.
Or last year's?
Both.
Both. All right, you've heard from the attorney for the county. What do you think is a fair amount? You've gotten a lot of reductions here.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of the first reduction. Last amnesty, I was aware of that. You know, we have 2, maybe 3 violations, so half, $3,000.
Because, you know,
I mean, we took care of them pretty quickly, and it was a struggle. And you know, one of the businesses aren't even there anymore. It's just a small batting cage business. It doesn't make a lot of money. So, you know, 3,000, 2,000.
why are there all these different, all right, well, the property owner, John Sanchez,
Yeah, there was
and
2.
then there was Florida Holdings, and
Florida Holdings is.
and
the
then
owner.
Bond and Shield, I mean,
Bond and Shield moved out.
Florida Holdings, I mean, these were property owners? And
No,
who do you represent?
I guess I'm representing all of them, but Bond and Shield and Diamond Impact, we originally tried to have the 2 we're the tenant. We tried to
Okay.
have the 2 businesses in there, but we were not approved to have businesses in
Yeah.
there, so we had to move out, so we weren't even open. And then we had so now it's just sitting because the only thing that was able to get approved was the batting cages, so it just sits there.
It's a small, very small business.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we don't, I just like to get it taken care of, and so it doesn't have to, you know.
And an affordable limit.
Yeah, in the proper time, so we could just get it taken care of. But if I can't pay by the end of, July 31st, it reverts back again.
Yep. You gotta pay at some point. You gotta pay something. So as council asked you, how much could you pay within the next 30 days?
I guess 3,000, if you
3,000?
could consider that.
Do you consider 3,000?
So, Your Honor, there are a number of cost of prosecution fees on each one of these cases. Not all of them were imposed on each one of the cases. So
Yeah, I know.
I think considering that as well, I think the county would be willing to go as low as 2,000 plus the cost of prosecution.
2,000 plus the cost of prosecution, which adds up to?
$2,600.
So the whole thing would be $2,600?
That's doable.
You could do that in
Yes.
30 days? and
Mhm.
all
Thank
this
you very
goes
much.
away?
Thank you
If
so much.
everybody's in agreement, I'm in agreement. I mean, the bottom line is we want compliance and everything's been
Everything is
complied
compliant,
with.
and
Okay.
has been.
Yeah, and we need to have something, because you heard from council.
Yeah.
The staff time involved and everything
I
else. Gotta
understand.
be some kind of cost reimbursement here. Okay, I'm just trying to think how I'm gonna do this procedurally, because we got all these separate cases. So some will just, all right, you're the main tenant, right? You're the one gonna be paying for it?
Right.
Yes.
And what company are you with?
That would be Diamond Impact, I suppose, because that's the tenant that's currently occupying the space. So,
But that's, let me see, that's Bond and Shield?
no,
Diamond Impact.
correct.
So we could, all right.
I would apply it to case number 108-705, because that's where the prosecution fee is. They put it in the,
108-705
instead of
you
putting
would
the
do?
business owner's name, the cases were, or the actual business name, they put it in the business owner's name.
Okay, so we would go 2208, 108-705, you're saying, Ms. Guy, we could reduce the fine there to 26, just the fine to 2,600, get rid of all the costs. I mean, it's one thing or the other, whatever we call them.
Correct.
And then the other ones we could just zero out.
Correct.
All right, let me just see. So the fine in that one was imposed, I just have to, for procedural purposes, on 705, the total fine imposed was $10,000, right? But that was reduced, right?
No.
No, that is
No,
10,000.
it reverted back, and we
It
rescinded.
reverted back.
We rescinded this year's lien amnesty to try to help the business owner come
Okay.
up with a plausible, reasonable thing.
Okay, I just
Yeah.
want to understand so we get the proper paperwork done for you, all right? So that it all goes away. All right,
Right.
let's do that. So if you said 108-705, that's the one we'll reduce the fine to 2,600. And then the other ones will just reduce the fine and cost to zero.
Correct. This is a wash.
So it'll just wash out. All right. Everybody in agreement, counsel?
In agreement, Your Honor.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you very
2600.
much.
All right, let me do all this, so just
Okay.
hit that. We gotta go through one at a time.
Okay.
All right. Let's start with 705. In reference to case number 2208-108-705, I, as special magistrate, make the following determination. The fine and costs of $10,000 plus costs imposed by the Code Enforcement Board is hereby reduced to the amount of $2,600. This reduced fine and cost must be paid within 30 days of this hearing, or the fine will revert back to the original fine and costs. All right? Okay. So we did that one. And just write it down. Hold on. All right, let's do the rest of them then. In reference to case number 2208-108-704, I, as special magistrate, make the following determination. The fine of $10,000 imposed by the Code Enforcement Board and any costs that may be associated with this case reduced to the amount of zero. Case number 2208-108-706. In reference to case number 22-108-706, I, as special magistrate, make the following determination. The fine of $10,000 and any or cost associated with this case reduced to the amount of zero. Case number 2209-108-737, violated Florida Holdings. In reference to that case, case number 2209-108-737, I, as special magistrate, make the following determination. The fine of $10,000 and any prosecution costs associated with this case are hereby reduced to the amount of zero. All right, let's go to case number 2209-108-738, violated Florida Holdings. In reference to case number 2209-108-738, I, as special magistrate, make the following determination. The fine of $10,000 imposed by the Code Enforcement Board and any prosecution costs associated with this case are reduced to zero. Case number 108-739. Which is Florida Holdings again, and it's reference to that case number 2209-108-739. I, as special magistrate, make the following determination: the fine of $10,000 imposed by the Code Enforcement Board and any costs associated with this case reduced to the amount of 0. And case number 2209-108-740, violated Florida Holdings. In reference to case number 2209-108-740, I, as special magistrate, make the following determination: the fine of $10,000 and any prosecution costs associated with this case are reduced to 0. I believe that's it.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you very
You're
much.
welcome.
We
You're welcome. Just
appreciate
pay
it.
the $2,600
I will.
within 30 days, so you don't have to come back and it's all gone.
Okay.
All right,
Thank you
thank
so
you
much.
so
Your
much.
Honor.
You're welcome.
Yeah, and I'll email you the invoice link
For payment? Okay.
to both of you. Okay. Very well.
Okay. Any other business? Any staff business? Anybody have anything else for us today before we get ready for the 4th of July holiday?
No, no staff business.
Okay, well, everybody have a happy and safe 4th of July.
Thank you.
And we will adjourn at this time, which is officially, as I check it, 11:36.